Hello everyone. For the next three chapters, we shall be discussing Egyptian art in general and its contributions to the world. Our objectives in these chapters are acquaint the student about the significance of Egyptian art and architecture, understand in detail about the different periods in Egyptian history and circumstances that led to the production of art, appreciate the art and architecture of the empire. We will be learning about the following: geographical location, broad historical framework, historical timeline, Egyptian people, contributions of Egyptian culture to the world. The Egyptian civilization is one of the 6 civilizations worldwide in history to arise independently. The Greek traveler and historian Herodotus, writing in the 5th century BC, remarked, Egypt is the gift of the Nile. This great river, the longest in the world, flows to the north from equatorial Africa and passes through Egypt parallel to the Mediterranean. Egypt was defined by its most important geographical feature, the Nile. Every time the floodwaters of Nile receded, they left behind a new layer of rich silt, making the valley and delta a continually fertile and attractive habitat. This made the people living there very lethargic. By about 8000 BC, who lived happily on the fish and wild plants around. It was only in about 5000 BC that they adopted agriculture and village life, a feature common to the Neolithic age. They then started the concept of basin irrigation to manage floodwaters, to ensure water and other adequate resources for agriculture. The predictable flooding and controlled irrigation of fertile valley produced surplus crops, which supported a more dense population and social developments and culture. With resources to spare, the administration sponsored mineral exploitation of the valley and surrounding desert regions. The early development of an independent writing system, the organization of collective construction and agricultural projects, trade with surrounding regions, and a military intended to defeat foreign enemies and assert Egyptian dominance. Motivating and organizing these activities was a bureaucracy of elite scribes, religious leaders, and administrators under the control of a pharaoh, who ensured the cooperation and unity of the Egyptian people in the context of an elaborate system of religious beliefs. The Egyptians believed that the deluge was a gift of the gods. Its appearance at regular intervals in a year strengthened their confidence in a divinely regulated cycle of death and life. The Badri culture was followed by Amritian, the Gergesan, and Nakada cultures, all of which contributed significantly to the development of what became Egyptian civilization. The written history of the land begins at some point between 5000 and 32 BC, when hieroglyphic script is developed by Nakada culture, who also established the faience industry sometime prior to 5500 BC, around Abydos. By 3500 BC, mummification of the dead was in practice at the city of Hierakonpolis. The city of Joyce is recorded as being already ancient by 3100 2181 BCE, as inscribed on the famous Palermo stone, as in other cultures worldwide, the small agrarian communities became centralized and grew into larger urban centers. In the early Old Kingdom, Egypt was simply known as Kemet, which means black land, so named for the rich, dark soil along the Nile River where the first settlements began. Later, the country was known simply as Misr, which means country, a name still in use by Egyptians for their nation in the present day. Let us look at the broad historical framework. Historians divide the history of ancient Egypt into the following periods. Prehistory up to circa 3100 BC, the Archaic period circa 3100 to 2650 BC, the Old Kingdom circa 2650 to 2150 BC, the Middle Kingdom circa 2040 to 1640 BC, the New Kingdom circa 1550 to 1070 BC, the late period circa 712 to 332 BC, and the Ptolemaic, Hellenistic and Roman periods 332 BC to AD 395. At these times of prosperity, the kings initiated numerous building projects, sent out expeditions to extend Egypt's borders and expand trade routes. During the so-called first, second and third intermediate periods, circa 2150 to 2040 BC, circa 1040 to 1550 BC, and 1070 to 712 BC. The land was politically fragmented, often averting to local rule in Upper and Lower Egypt. After the end of New Kingdom, indigenous Egyptian dynasties were weakened by rival factions in Upper and the Lower Egypt, and Egypt was subjugated at times by foreign invaders, Libyans, Assyrians, Nubians and Persians. In 332 BC, Egypt was conquered by Alexander the Great, who was followed as ruler by his general Ptolemy and Ptolemy's descendants. During the Ptolemaic period, 304 to 30 BC, Egypt entered into the Hellenistic world and later became a province of the Roman Empire following Egypt's conquest by Augustus Caesar in 30 BC. Let us now turn to Egyptian people. Egyptian society was structured in a hierarchical manner. Each person had his and her own place in society according to their occupation, and the head of the hierarchy was the king. Indications of office and rank were determined by a person's dress, hairstyle, and accoutrements, staves, scepters, jewelry, etc. The literate class was 1%, and others were engaged in agriculture, crafts, or as slaves. For their work, people received pay in food and other material goods. Craftsmen often had special status and were able to make some income on the side by selling products on their own. Slaves were sold and bought, but they were not without legal rights and could own property and marry as they wished. Beer and bread, both made from wheat, and both requiring fermentation, were staples of the Egyptian diet. The position of women in Egyptian society was generally secondary to that of men. As a rule, were excluded from high governmental and administrative offices. But there are exceptions. The famous queen of Hatshepsut was such an example. Their positions changed with time. However, one most important public function of women was religious. They were usually priestesses. In the New Kingdom, when men performed the duty of the priests, they became musicians. In ancient Egypt, women were above all wives, mothers and mistresses of the house. As such, they played a subordinate role to men in Egyptian society, and this is how they were predominantly depicted in art. In reliefs, paintings and statues, women were represented embracing their husbands. The opposite is extremely rare. They are usually smaller in stature than men, as is natural. But in some periods and circumstances, they are much smaller, as when they sit beside their husbands' legs. In paintings and reliefs, women sit and stand behind men. And when a monument such as tomb is dedicated exclusively to a woman, her husband usually does not appear, perhaps to spare him the indignity of a secondary place. Let us now look at some contributions of Egyptian culture to the world. The Egyptian developed the concept of the right angle, which is the basis of Pythagorean theorem. This concept is one of the fundamental teachings of the Egyptian mystery school. It is reflected in the designs of ancient Egyptian pyramids, which were initiated centuries before the birth of Pythagoras. This concept and others like it, however, were introduced by Pythagoras. They represent the understanding of man and the order of nature. According to the Pythagoras Brotherhood, the study of the number theory, which is the foundation of creation, is an aid to achieving harmony between the soul and that which one meditates. Thinkers such as Plato, Aristotle, Freud, Wagner, Haydn based their philosophy to some extent on Pythagorean ideas, including scientists such as Copernicus, Kepler, Galileo, and Newton. The Egyptian invented the fixed and constant year of 365 days. In this instance, a common sense desire for something fixed in the calendaric jungle led to the adoption of a 360-day year, to which were added 5 extra days for feasting, which the Greeks called epagomenal days, making a total of 365 days. Ancient Egyptians were the first to invent and use glass, linen, paper and ink. They invented the calendar, clock, geometry and the alphabet. They were the first to contribute to the refinement of dress and ornament. They introduced to humanity the furniture and dwellings and built magnificent buildings. From its earliest beginnings, Egypt was conceived as a nation state. Once the objective of unification was, as it were, expressed by the first Egyptian kings, the basic political, religious and social components of society were seen as valid from one end to the valley to the other. Although there were local traditions, these were swiftly subsumed into the distinctly Egyptian corporate identity. In the field of society and life, they introduced the remarkable development of orderly and peaceful government. They were the first United Nation ruled by the first centralized government. Ancient Egypt had a census and postal service. There were primary and secondary educations as well as technical training. There was an organized administration with offices and scribes. Ancient Egyptians introduced writing and first known literature. They also had contribution to science and medicine. Ancient Egypt made the first clear formulation known as of individual and public conscience. The pillar of Egyptian culture was not science, however, but religion, which was firmly established as the basis of a whole worldview. The religion promoted the worship of many gods. It mixed magical ceremonies and beliefs with worship in a fashion common to early religions almost everywhere. A more distinctive focus involved the concern with death and preparation for life in another world, where in contrast to the Mesopotamian, the Egyptians held that a happy, changeless well-being could be achieved. The care shown in preparing tombs and mummifying bodies, although with elaborate funeral rituals, particularly for the rulers and bureaucrats, was designed to assure a satisfactory afterlife. Though Egyptians also believed that favorable judgment by a key god, Osiris, was essential as well. Other Egyptian deities included a creation goddess similar to other Middle Eastern religious figures later adapted into Christian worship of Virgin Mary, and host of gods represented by partial animal figures. Egyptian art focused heavily on the gods, though earthly human scenes were portrayed as well in a characteristic stylized form that lasted without great change for many centuries. Artistic conventions dictated by Egyptian style, especially in sculpture and paintings, were very precise and strictly followed. Statues were viewed as physical representations of gods and goddesses, as well as divine kings and queens. Male statues had to be darker in color than female statues. Human figures followed a definite pattern. Heads were usually viewed from the side, while the torsos were viewed from the front. Although Egyptian artists were keen observers of details, they were not after exact copies of the things and people that they saw. Artists were not expected to do something new, but to repeat exactly what has already been done. They tried to achieve a sense of order, stability, and continuity by using clear, precise, and simple shapes and lines mixed with flat areas of color. The human figure and the world were recognizable, although ancient Egyptian artists did not try to achieve exact replicas but idealized representations. Let us now look at the development of art in Egypt in a timeline. Let us now look at the locations of important artworks. Let us now look at some artworks of Egypt.